through. Roll out.
Is this the craziest anime season ever? Because look, we've got long-awaited sequels and brand new series making waves, for better or worse. But don't worry, I watched every single anime of winter 2026 so you don't have to. And look, my eyes still haven't melted after so much garbage. So what really matters now is showing you all of this with plenty of memes and dumb jokes. Also, pay attention to this little corner where I'll show you what you should watch, what might be worth giving a chance, and what you should stay away from. And at the end of the video, I'll highlight the most important ones, because now you should just get carried away by the Fire Force is back with its scorching final season, and besides the pretty animation, this time it's accompanied by its deep web version, Oedo Fire Slayer, The Legend of Phoenix, which might sound like a Harry Potter spin-off, but is actually just a beautiful anime trying to rival the legendary Berserk 2016. Good lord, anyone who stares at this thing for too long must have no self-love. And speaking of love, nothing like a wholesome romance to clear the head, because in You and I Are Polar Opposites, we follow the story of a Gyaro who's terrible at taking pics, and the quiet guy you fear might become a Terminator in the future. Now it's just a matter of watching this for like 7 seasons until they finally realize they like each other. Huh? Wait a second, holding hands in the first episode? Since when does Japan air porn just like this? At this rate, they'll be dating by episode.
Hey Suzuki, I love you too.
Okay, so from episode 3 onward, things must heat up between them, right? Actually no, that is reserved for the Kaguya-sama special, which came out of nowhere. Technically isn't even from this season, but I have to mention it somewhere because it's just that good. Just like the movie starring her doppelganger, Cosmic Princess Kaguya, where the famous Japanese folktale is updated for the modern era. So of course we get VTubers, friends with a very platonic relationship, League of Legends references, and also references to the GOAT of gaming anime.
Link start!
Oh shit.
I'll need some help from the ladies. Please come forward one by one. And let me hear you say you love me.
I swear there's a reasonable explanation for this. The protagonist's only company during late nights was the voice of Apollo, who always said I love you before ending her streams for him. Unfortunately, she suddenly disappears, so all he can do is what any normal person would: track down the girls at school and use this foolproof method to identify her. The problem? Poor suspect seems to have the golden voice, a radio host who stutters, an expressionless VTuber, a voice actress who can't read, and a singer with stage fright. But since he's an honorable man, he promises to help them overcome their problems while searching for Apollo. Now, let's just hope he also gets over this strange fetish for costumes. And you know what's even stranger? No, not that. I'm talking about the amazing English cuisine accurately depicted in Law through a Prism, where we follow a Japanese student having nightmares about British food. She goes to London to study art, suffer a bit of bullying and a dash of xenophobia, but unfortunately, she'll have to go back home if she doesn't become #1 at the academy. Something pretty hard when her rival is a handsome blonde guy who paints this masterpiece. So honestly, it's easier for her to become #1 in the guy's heart than to surpass this work of art. But it's still not time to jump into the world of the racist elf who kills demons without mercy. That'll come later, because now we need to talk about who holds first place in Utaga's heart, the protagonist of Tamon's B-side. You probably know someone who's a super fan of groups like Stray Kids or BTS, so now let me clue you into their darkest dream, being a regular girl who ends up working with the idol she worships, almost dying of horniness and gaining access to a secret side of his, a side that only she can handle. That's how she realizes that this well of Asian virility is also human, and you get to witness how a female fan reacts well when meeting her favorite idol. I wonder how beautiful it would be if a male fan met his favorite idol too. So, Oshi No Ko is back for season 3, and with the same philosophy as always. Battle Peace are forbidden. Seriously, this season's opening is insane, and I'm not even saying that because there's a little bit of spice to it. And for the story, this time it kicks off by focusing on cosplay and Japanese variety shows, since the protagonist has stopped being the TikTok edgy guy for a while, and his sister has taken over that role. That said, we all know the true MVP of this series is the giant cock, but since he's unavailable, I'll settle for Mancho, the craziest character in the show. Not because she has PTSD like half the cast, but because she insists on being a YouTuber. And only insane people do that, right? Speaking of insane people, if you're crazy enough to enjoy this kind of video, leave a like and subscribe with the bell on so you don't miss more content like this. Now, only the truly unhinged become vigilantes in the world of My Hero Academia, which is back with its spin-off and brings a weird feeling. Since the main series ended with massive hype, watching this calmer anime brings nostalgia for the big fights, and for season 1, when the villain was in Reverse Flash, and it was normal to see the unk that stayed at the protagonist's place for free.
Didn't you need to be on
all fours to do that?
Even crazier than a vigilante or a YouTuber are the torture methods featured in yet another season of This Time for Torture Princess. Here, a poor girl is forced to betray her kingdom in the cruelest way possible, with delicious food and adorable animals. But it's not the only anime that presents torture in a different way, because we also have the daily time of a part-time torturer. In it, murder and torture are legalized, so we follow the cheerful daily life of this industry, which works more or less like this. Yeah, just don't ask how the author knows so much about torture. My theory is that he's already endured the greatest torture ever created in human history, watching a marathon of questionable isekai. And that's probably why I'm kind of a masochist, because I faced a whole batch of these hidden gems. So come with me and see just how absurd they can get. We have an anime where the guy is playing on hell difficulty, so that must be why his life is more normal than most isekai. No broken powers and just a mother who simply won't stop getting pregnant. Another one where the villainess only survives because she runs away with the first foreigner available. She doesn't even care if the guy is kind of a stalker or not. And look how curious. His name is Aqua, so he has that in common with the other Aqua of the season.
Hear me out. You go fuck yourself.
Take a breath, because isekai can still get even crazier and more generic than that. For example, in Isekai Office Worker, a workaholic brings order to a medieval kingdom and discovers, in the most delightful way possible, that not every mana transfer needs ugly CGI dragons. And speaking of dragons, dragon leveling could very well be the name of this one, where the protagonist becomes a dragon that looks more like a Pokemon. His goal for life is to get strong enough to protect his friends, and to run from Nintendo's lawyers, of course. But the one who doesn't have to worry about anything is the 13th prince of noble reincarnation, since he's the most perfect human being in his universe. If he gets a sword, it's not just any sword, it's a super powerful magical sword. If he picks a book, it's not just any book, it's a super powerful magical book. If he receives a ring, it's not just any ring, it's a super powerful magical ring. And if he notices a singer, well, she's just a regular woman, but the hentai bangs are what really stand out.
Didn't you need to be on all fours to do that?
In the same way, it really stands out how Easygoing Territory Defense starts off looking like a straight-up copy-paste of the previous anime. It brings yet another genius young noble who makes his father very proud, until he discovers that the kid's power is theoretically useless.
I don't even know who you are.
So he gets banished to a village in the middle of nowhere. But you won't believe it, his power is secretly overpowered if used the right way. And so, he basically spends his days playing that forgotten Fortnite mode. A mode only slightly less forgettable than those shonen anime almost nobody watches, like the second season of The Swordsman Who Loved to Go At It Naked, or the Hell Teacher remake, which got a curious score for its first part, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's karma for the protagonist's ringtone.
I'm staying with my dick.
And when we talk about Hell, Hell's Paradise is the one that truly steals the spotlight, returning after 3 years with the journey of the most romantic ninja in anime. This time, they nerfed the opening and improved the production overall, making even the tears worthy of Violet Evergarden. But if they didn't, how else would they portray the island's temptations? From the girl with the nice ass to the husband cooker, or the blonde guy with his six-pack. Something has to justify the paradise in the title, right? Because the script quality sure won't. And if Iceland weirdness from the past isn't your thing, Scum of the Brave throws it all into the modern world, a place where a drug makes people hyper-focused and powerful. The problem is when you end up becoming a babysitter for a bunch of rats as an indirect consequence of that, which is exactly what happens to our protagonist, a guy already fed up with playing hero and dealing with a superpowered short girl. If that reminded you of Sentenced to be a Hero, it's because both are written by the same author, but I'll save that fantasy for later, because first we need to talk about a big shonen that's been getting trash online. That's right, That Account, an adaptation of a pretty big manga, seems to be the newest mid shonen on the block.
Finally, worthy opponent.
Okay, maybe I'm exaggerating, because this anime is kinda unique, showing us a world where exorcism is done through smartphones. And more importantly, while others try to make you care by killing off a father figure, this one is more efficient and impactful, killing a cute anime girl right from the get-go. Why do you think Tokyo Revengers became such a hit? It's not just because of badass blonde guys. Otherwise, Trigun Stargaze and the misadventures of Vash, the Stampedo, would probably have more recognition. Maybe people are still biased against this remake being 3D, but I can assure you it's not the most curious remake of the season. That title goes to High School Kimengumi, an insane comedy following this airheaded girl and a group of lunatics, which includes a guy who gets powers just by looking at magazine and the newest leader of the Autobots.
Roll out!
But the cherry on top is the anime studio, because they're known for animating things with way more action than this, and their resume is really long.
É legal, desenho animado. Bom também, rentável.
And since we're talking about action, Chain Soldier returned for season 2, promising to improve those kinds of scenes. And then, they did improve them.
Didn't you need to be on all fours to do
Looks
that?
like someone didn't watch episode 4. But the story is also pretty interesting. Or at least, that's what I'd say if I didn't know the target audience of this thing. Come on, this is the story of a guy submitting himself to beautiful, powerful women to beat up some weird creatures. I think Knuckles sums up the anime's fanbase pretty well.
Approved. 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 It's now illegal.
Enough with the shamelessness, let's calm down for a bit. A Misanthrope teaches a class for Demi-Humans, follows a gamer helping Demi-Human girls become truly human. It even sounds like a peaceful job, but I don't think he was counting on how bad these girls are, and that doesn't exactly scream relaxing. So let's check out an adventurer's daily grind at age 29. Alright, an adventurer who suffered in the past, now lives a quiet life helping his village. He starts taking care of a girl like she's his daughter. We got a few Frieren references. Well, seems like we found a chill anime.
Succubus.
Oh, Japan. You just had to make it weird, didn't ya? Thankfully, Wash It All Away isn't like that. It follows a laundromat owner living a peaceful life and even starting what looks like a wholesome romance. There's nothing erotic here, unless you find it sexy the way she whispers in people's ears.
Hey, you won't believe it.
What?
I shat myself.
Now, if you want an overdose of comfort and cuteness, there's no escaping the Demon King's daughter is too kind. The protagonist is the most powerful demon in the world, because she's the only one who goes against normal conventions and fight evil with pure cuteness. She builds snowmen that make Olaf look like just some big-nosed NPC. She treats slaves as if they were actually human. And most importantly, she's always ready to play fun games with her friends. Uh-oh. Another slice of life is a gentle noble's vacation recommendation, which shows a noble becoming an adventurer and sharing some very affectionate moments with his bodyguard. I don't know if they'll actually become a couple, but I'm sure some people will watch it just for the possibility. But isn't that kind of shallow? Let's take this Roll Over and Die as an example. Even though it's uncommon to have a female protagonist, it looks pretty generic. A bloody fantasy where she gets kicked out of her party, fights to free slaves and... Wait, is this a Yuri? On a serious note, Medalist should be mandatory viewing for any fan of good drama. It ranked among the best of 2025, and in season 2, it remains graceful, emotional, and completely Hey guys, what the fuck is this? And since we're already in this emotional genre, MF Ghost came back turbocharged and packed with Eurobeat. Our Orchestra True and To Your Eternity 3 continue delivering drama on screen and civil war off screen in the latter's case. But you also have some interesting new entries in this category, like Journal with Witch and Champignon Witch. In the first one, we follow the diary of a wimp kid, not because the protagonist is trying to impress the chicks at school, but because she's emotionally crushed after losing her parents. She's taken in by her aunt, who's tall, pale, and almost socially inept, basically Slenderman. But now that she started writing in a journal, she can compare her life to playing Journey, while also documenting the progress of her relationship with her new guardian and the emotional chaos inside her. On the other hand, Champignon Witch introduces a girl who suffers for being different. She leaves poisonous mushrooms wherever she goes, and even though they're cute, people treat her like that weird Mario. So the little witch ends up lonely, unlike someone who wants some, and isn't afraid to ask for it, tries to use magic to connect with a guy, even if that puts her life at risk, and even if her likely future is spending eternity exercising books, which also seems to be the case for Kaya-chan. The protagonist of Kaya-chan isn't scary, who has psychic powers a la Mob Psycho and uses them to protect her kindergarten classmates. And it's not just them she protects. If a clumsy big sis messes with something she shouldn't, Kaya runs like Naruto chasing Sasuke to fix the situation. The only monster she truly can't hold back
He's the one right behind you.
Hey, no need to be scared. If you're still watching Gnosia, you know not every monster is terrible once you get to know them. But maybe that only works for pretty boys and girls. And speaking of the first type, we can't forget that another part of JoJo is on the way. I don't know how, but this franchise of lead outfit samurais resurfaced after more than 20 years. Baki is coming back with yet another testosterone-packed season. Can we even say the men in this anime are hot? The Sound of Heroes keeps showing us... Anyway, I'm Falling in Love with You got a second season. God knows how. And Dark Moon definitely did not take inspiration from Twilight. It's just a coincidence that it puts a girl in the middle of angelically handsome vampires and werewolves. But the pretty boys who stand out the most have to be the pair from In the Clear Moonlit Dusk. Here the school princess seem tired of breaking hearts and start getting to know each other better until... Wait, she's a woman? And look at that, Hana-Kimi also has a girl who looks like a guy. This time, it's a lady stalking her crush, a guy who must think he's Isaac Newton, since he's always lying under a tree. The truth is, he used to be an excellent high jumper, the kind who could clear the bar like nobody else.
Didn't you need to be on all fours?
And that's where our heroine comes in, sneaking to an all-boys school to try to bring her crush back to the sport. But what she really ends up doing is helping her classmates come out of the closet. After that, I have to be fair and talk about the pretty girls too, like the characters from Shibuyugi, an anime about a young woman who makes a career out of participating in deadly games. Thanks to her experience, she's able to guide the others whenever necessary, and she's even capable of thinking about dinner while her teammates have brutal deaths. But those skills don't stop her from getting her food stolen, so she still has to push herself even further to survive, because her goal is to clear the game 99 times and be able to say,
eu joguei todos, zerei todos.
so she's willing to do anything for that. You shouldn't have stolen my food. If these girls are too deranged for you, then do what the protagonist of the next anime does. There was a cute girl in the hero's party. Here, the hero's party is super powerful, but gets beaten up all the time. And that's because they're fighting an overpowered demon who swears to protect the Demon King until the end of time. Wait. Is that a cute girl who just showed up? Oh, then he has no choice but to betray his boss and confess his feelings. Too bad the girl still isn't ready to accept the guy who almost killed her. But I don't know why he's so sad. Her mom seems single enough. Just like the old dude from Kojima Wants to Be a Kamen Rider, who still only experiences the female touch when he's getting his ass handed to him by his hobby partner. That's a problem the protagonist of You Can't Be a Rom-Com doesn't have, since his friends literally compete to see who can rub up against him the most. Just like dogs over shit, you know? Just don't believe this romance is going somewhere, because that only seems slightly less impossible than a human having a child with a monkey. Wait a second. The Darwin Incident is one of the most unique anime of this season. It shows a group of eco-terrorists rescuing a chimpanzee who's pregnant with a human. Don't ask me how that happened. Years later, the hybrid that's born is an apple-loving kid starting his life at school. There, he meets people who think he's cute, others who fear the ape man, and also a special girl who helps him realize apples aren't the only thing that can be delicious. Now, will he get to enjoy that, or will he spend his life throwing hands with criminals and bullies? I can't say for sure right now, but I can tell you Beastars is another anime with at least half animals who fight a lot, and it's promising to wrap up soon, while another furry-filled anime could be Digimon, depending on your point of view. But it's easier to talk about the ones in The Invisible Man and His Soon-to-Be Wife, a wholesome romance set in a world where everyone has their own quirk. The protagonist is blind, this guy is annoying, she is furry, and of course, as you can see, the Invisible Man is very well defined. But this woman is not the only lucky blind person around, because Kunon the Sorcerer Can See shows a young noble overcoming his disability through magic. Sure, he still has a lot to improve before he stops copying Carrie, but with the support of a charismatic maid and his adorable bride, it's only a matter of time before he fulfills his dream of creating eyes with his abilities. On the other hand, Jack of All Trades Party of None is yet another story about a guy kicked out of his party for no good reason, but this time with the twist that at least one person from the former group is on a complete son of a bitch, and the fact that the protagonist is a true Jack of All Trades, the most versatile man in the kingdom, because to be number one in the universe, he'd have to dethrone someone unbeatable.
Well, I guess I'm a jack of all trades.
Okay.
I'm a doctor, lawyer, teacher, plumber, astronaut.
Whoa, how do you do all that?
Just a busy guy.
And that reminds me of that Golden Kamuy scene that always shows up in the memes. Even though this is in the final season, I have no idea what Golden Kamuy is, and at this point, I'm too afraid to ask. Meanwhile, asking questions is exactly what the detective from the Casebook of Arn needs to do if he wants to find the culprit behind his father's death. In a world full of supernatural beings and no responsible adults in sight, I can't wait to go on this investigation with him. I'm sure he's fine, guys. And if he's not, I guess we can follow that vampire kid and the blonde girl. But I'm sure he's fine. Putting that aside, let's take a look at the protagonist of the next anime. I'm sure she's fine too. Or at least her goal seems to be, since she saves the other protagonist from being cucked and staring in the generic fantasy. But there's a price. The girl must abandon her honor to avenge the ghost's death, and possibly destroy the Holy Grail of Ares. And speaking of Holy Grail...
Neuron activation.
After what feels like a bazillion years, Fate's Strange Fake has finally arrived with its war set in the United States. You know what that means?
Guns.
Lots of guns.
But also a bloody battle royale with a bunch of lunatics, basically a Warzone match. Except here, nothing is what it seems. Jack the Ripper? Not a little kid anymore, more like a watch straight out of Spy Kids. This guy claims to be King Arthur? No way, he's too much of a man for that. And this beauty here, looks cute, right? But I bet there's a little surprise under that veil. If you're the type who thinks this universe is way too complicated, don't worry, the opening gives off a mid feeling just like Solo Leveling, so I guess you can just turn off your brain and enjoy the insane animation here too. The same might be said about Sentenced to be a Hero, where the worst criminals receive the harshest punishment possible, being sentenced to become heroes. That's right, they're forcing people to play Overwatch in 2026.
Hear me out. You go fuck yourself.
The protagonist was wrongfully convicted and would love to get revenge, but instead he's thrown into a suicide squad to fight the cutest fairies in fiction. That word also fits the goddess he awakens, an ultra powerful combat weapon who forms a pact with our hero and demands an almost impossible price. She wants headbands. So the two reluctantly teams up to fight monsters, make Michael Bay jealous, and pretend the plot is actually going somewhere. Jujutsu Kaisen came back full of controversy, but I'd rather focus on this incredible meme that came out of season 3. Damn, this Naoya guy looks pretty strong. I bet he doesn't even need to try to win his fight. I bet he'll win the next one.
Brutality.
Okay, maybe next time? Alright, leaving that loser aside, the story hasn't decided if it's just copying Kill Bill and Fight Club, but what we know is that Itadori now that everyone is after his ass. Not to mention the insane battle royale that's starting, though it's still less terrifying than the way they try to explain the rules. Thankfully, complicated stuff like that stays away from Frieren, probably the most anticipated sequel of the year, which decided to overcompensate for its huge first season with a tiny number of episodes this time, but the narrative remains calm. We're constantly reminded that the journey is what truly matters, while Frieren teaches their kids that being racist is pretty cool. And she even connects to modern times, showing that sometimes, to win the audience's heart, all you have to do is look up.
Didn't you need to be on all fours to do
So, which anime are you sticking with until the end? Drop it down below. And if you enjoyed the video, consider hyping the content. With that said, I'm Sid from the Seibaa TV channel, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.